Welcome back to a Tuesday Recap. This is your host, Chris and Deepam here, and we are finally back to review The Flash. I know we kind of delayed this a little bit. We had a lot going on this week, so we're doing The Flash, Season 5, Episode 7, Oh Come All Ye Thankful. While Nora grapples with the unresolved anger over her father's disappearance in the future, Barry and Team Flash must stop a powerful new meta, Weather Witch, which I love the fact that Cisco was just like, I'll allow it, from killing her own father with Weather Wizard. So, yeah, it's just like, you know what? I'll allow it. We're back here. Yeah, man. This is an episode that gave me something that I didn't think I needed to resolve, but it did. It's the whole idea that, you know, finally confronting Barry with the fact that how dangerous his life is and what he does as a hero. You know, you're unlike, you kind of have this with Oliver, and we're going to talk about this when we do the Arrow review with Oliver, but Oliver's kind of always had to deal with family, and you know, even then he kind of it's not the same. You know, we got Willem last year, and you've always still felt like Oliver's kind of standoffish, so it doesn't feel as much of something that needs to be addressed. It's just like Oliver Queen. He's, you know, standoffish. He has a family, but like he's gonna do what he has to do. Bear's a little different because its family's been such a huge part of the Flash since the beginning. You know, having Joe there and then Iris and like it's always felt like family has been a big part there. So he's never really had to be confronted with the idea that, yo, Barry's kind of died a lot.
Well, I think it's because for a lot of time in The Flash, and this isn't a negative, it was just a fact that a lot of the backstory and a lot of the family aspects were supporting characters. Mm-hmm. They were more there to show, aid and abet, I guess, Barry's kind of growth. With Arrow, they were kind of integral to the storyline from the beginning. Moira Queen was one of the big bads of season 1. Like, it's the family being involved in the action happened a lot earlier on Arrow. So when things happened to Oliver, it was important that we were shown the rest of the cast's reaction.
And thank you for
because they were.
I was just going to say thank you for reminding everybody that Moira was actually a villain in season 1. Just,
yeah,
got to remind people.
But you watch what's happening now with The Flash is we're having to revisit those early seasons where this crazy shit happened to Barry, and we're looking at it through his lens. Now that the rest of the cast has more agency, we can say, yeah, by the way, Barry died. Barry didn't just die; he volunteered to die. Then Barry killed one of his own versions of himself.
Yo, like people, I can't believe this. Like, something we were talking about a character corner before this next character corner we're doing this month, and Deepam and I agreed on a stopping point that we didn't talk about before, but he mentioned it, and I had it in the back of my mind. He said it, and I was just like, God damn it! And he was just like, Yeah, we spend way too much time together. I literally have in my notes. We always forget that to beat Zoom, he created a time limit of himself and sacrificed himself then. We never talk about that, and you just brought it up again. And like, it's one of the ongoing things with the Flash. It's like, it's sacrifice, which there's a whole thing going on now about, you know, when we talked about this on the mailbag with being, how do you stay true to characters and still tell your own story? And the thing that I think I love about the Flash is they have shown, and they're doing it this season where Barry they haven't gotten grimdark. I think the last 2 seasons they got a little too dark, and I think we should be, to be fair to the writers, if you don't really understand, and I'm going to say you don't really understand the Flash, but it's really easy to get grimdark with the Flash. When you read the stories of Barry Allen and Wally West, it is marred in tragedy and sacrifice and death, and it is honestly pretty horrific. So it's not, I can totally understand how you get caught up in that and then decide to go into, oh, well, everybody's depressing and dark and it's got to be dark, because the story actually kind of is. And I think this season they've understood that you can address all those things and have all that tragedy there, but still keep Barry upbeat. And I think that's why we're loving this season so much. But you're absolutely right. It's like he's gone through so much willingly. And it's easy to forget. Like when Iris was going through that list with Nora, it was almost kind of nonchalant about it. Like, you could see it was kind of bothering her, but just like, yeah, there was a time he did this, and then he did this, and then this happened. And Nora's like, none of that's in the Flash Museum. It's like, yeah, you know. Oh, and then Ronnie kind of sacrificed himself then too, and she's like, what's going on here? Like all this stuff happened. You're like, and I'm as the audience member going, shit, yeah. When you bring it up again, it's a lot.
It's almost, some would say, too much. Like, I know the 100th episode's coming up. We know who's directing that one. We know some of the big returns that are coming, but it's one of these like, whew, he has been through some shit. Like, Barry's really seen some shit happen.
Yeah, and then when I think the other thing too is Nora's a perfect character to address it because she's a direct, like, we get to see Iris going through this, but Iris had a life with Barry. So Barry, every time Barry sacrifices himself and leaves, it made sense that Iris would be upset, but at least she still got some time. She understood why Barry did what he did. She doesn't have to like it. She doesn't be, she can definitely be upset about it, but she understood it because she was there. With Nora, she didn't get that time with her father. And so she doesn't understand. It's like, yo, you could have died. And you don't seem to care that you almost died. And it kind of goes back to as somebody who lost it. And again, when I think even Iris mentioned it, she was like, that sounds like the singularity that took him from us in the future. It's just like, yeah, you need to stop. You need to stop.
Yeah.
If you stop, then I can have my dad, because I didn't get to spend the time with you because you made these decisions. And you get to see this episode, and they don't drag it out, but you get to see in this episode why Barry has to sacrifice himself, why Barry goes through all these things, and you see Nora kind of go, I get it now. Because she had to see it. Just like Iris saw it and understood why he did it. Didn't like it, but you can see it, and you're like, no, he has to do this. Like, this is Barry's, this is his job. It's and I even like the idea of when she brought up the fact that, it's different than Joe. This doesn't have to be your job. So, like, I don't know. I really enjoyed how they did that, and it gives you more background into why Nora's upset. And again, this whole entire season has been about family anyway, and so it really brings down. Again, I think that even in the comic books, like, the core of the Flash is family, right? And so through all this tragedy, that's why it stays so not upbeat, but that's why you get through it. Because it's family, and family's always been there. And when you get away from that, it kind of, doesn't work out. But when you stay around with the family, is there, and they really, really nailed that there. So really enjoyed that.
Also, I really enjoy the storytelling parallels of fathers and daughters. Mm-hmm. And I really, maybe it's because I wasn't familiar with the actor last time who played the Thinker, but maybe it's just because I think this guy is surprisingly adding a lot of depth. Chris Klein, I think it is. But I love the story, the way they told his story. I don't know, but it landed a lot better. I think you and I talked about this, where we got a Thinker story so late in the game that it didn't really allow us to grow with the villain. This, telling it about this time, was a good place for us to remind us that, first of all, they're getting close to him, but second of all, he has a purpose. It's not just some psycho.
Listen, this is something that we bring up all the time when it comes to Arrowverse shows, and I think they do a really good job of this. If they're onto something and it doesn't hit in one season, they'll come back and make sure they kind of do it again and do it right. I mean, this is one of the things that we brought up with Ralph. It's like they did Ralph right when they kind of didn't, and Ralph's growth was kind of around the same way they try to do Wally, right? And that's where some people were kind of like, oh, I don't feel this right now. This is what Wally should have gone through. But it's like they made a mistake with Wally. And they then corrected it with Ralph. And I understand people didn't like that, but it's like they did correct it and they did it better. That's what they're doing with Orlin Dwyer here. This is clearly showing it's almost in the same vein as what they did with the Thinker and what they did with Devoe, where again, we actually liked the Devoe stuff. We just felt like as a storytelling thing, as a narrative thing for the entire season, it came in sporadically and too late. The Thinker stuff actually was really compelling, and the way they did it actually was like, oh wow, I understand where this is going. I understand how this thing's falling apart. Like, it all makes sense here. It just it didn't fit in with it didn't fit in with the season. It felt like disjointed. Like you said, they realized they were on something here. That, listen, if we want to get a villain, we got to make you care about him. and we got to make sure we get it in early, and we incorporate it in the entire season up front. Mm-hmm. And bro, they did it.
Well, what's even crazier is that like when you introed this episode. It's episode 8. It's not that upfront, but I think that they did a good job of, one, establishing a threat, and then now, 2, making us give a shit about the threat before whatever happens next. Right. Whereas last time it was just all this escalation, and oh, by the way, here's why he might matter.
Right. We've been seeing Gracie. And I love what they did. I love the reveal in this episode where you're like, oh, well, that's his daughter. Of course he's upset. Duh. And then you find this episode, oh, that wasn't his daughter. That's his niece. And she got thrust on him, and he didn't really want her at first. Like, he was like, that scene where she wakes up and she's like, it's breakfast time. He's like, okay. He's looking through. He's like, here's Chinese food. It's only like
only a few days old.
It's only a few days old. And I'm like, oh, this isn't good. This isn't good at all. And then, but you see as that they've come together and they form this bond, and he gets his shit together, and he starts to realize, and it's like, yo, I'm not doing right by her. Let me go out here and actually treat her like she's my daughter. Let me. I know I didn't want her as a child. I didn't want to raise my sister's daughter. And again, she was her mother got killed in a car crash. Like, it's tragedy here, and so you're finding all the tragedy, and you find out that he gets himself together. They build this relationship, and a year later they're celebrating, and that's when the Night of the Enlightenment happens, and when the satellite gets destroyed, and she gets brain hemorrhage, and he gets stabbed, and you're like, I totally understand it. Like, he's not right. I know people are getting sick and tired of my villain agenda shit. Because
the people are me. Like, I'm glad you're letting other people get involved. But if you want to say that your co-host is getting sick and tired of your villain agenda shit, yeah.
I'm not. I'm just saying this is not a villain agenda time. This time, I'm just saying. But it's like, you understand it. Like, I totally understand. Go ahead.
I'll tell you what I really like is the fact that I think you and I kind of hinted at in the reviews, and it's like, oh, we suspect it's tied to it directly. Showing it as opposed to making us guess about it was really a good decision.
Oh, it nailed it. It's just like, because when you see it, when you see what happened to him, you're on some, I totally understand. Because that's something too. We forgot about this. His sister wasn't just killed in like a car crash. It was a meta attack.
Right.
So again, he's had this whole thing of, Meta's killed his sister, thrusted Gracie on him, and now they've almost taken Gracie from him and almost killed him. It's like, I'm not saying that he's right. No, that's not where I'm going with this. But you totally understand where he's coming from, even more so than Devoe. Like, with Devoe, you understand, like, it was kind of his fault. Like, he was running that experiment during the particle acceleration, and you get it, right? And he was also kind of a dick to his wife. Like, you were seeing him go away. Here, everything. I remember when they announced Cicada, they were like, "Oh, he's gonna be more like a blue collar," and we're like, "Oh God, here we go. What are we doing with this shit?" I don't know, Cicada. Okay, whatever. Now I'm like, oh no. Like, one, they've done enough to make sure that his villain persona is threatening. Like, he basically can null the powers of metas. And
he neutered Cisco.
Yeah, he neutered Cisco completely right now. And he's getting stronger. And now you got the backstory. Now you have the story of this man who has been marred in tragedy and nearly had his little girl taken from him, and you totally get it. You understand why he's in this position and why he's gotten this anger. And it also could be that, whatever happened to him with the dark matter is also fueling that as well.
Right.
Because you see that the dagger kind of got called to him when he was watching about that meta attack.
I saw that Thor moment. I was like, all right, Thor.
Right. I was like, oh shit, okay, God of lightning? I don't know what we're doing here, but okay. God of dark matter? I don't know. So I don't know. It's really great. And like you said, now you've tied that in to everything else, where the entire season is fathers and daughters. You have Barry and Nora. You have you had Weather Wizard and his daughter this episode that she really hated him. Like, when she dropped that car on him, and I was like, I knew it was either going to be Ralph or it was going to be a hologram. But I still was like, ooh, did she?
Yo, I really thought they fucked up. I was like, well then. I was like, you just got a man killed, Barry. And then I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense.
Oh,
and then, but it's good because it's a good reminder that they used this tech in the past.
Right. We have the technology. We can save it.
They use fake Barry.
Right. Exactly. So, I mean, we definitely, I love, again, the callbacks work really well. But again, like you said, tying in the entire season, this is what we're missing last season. Like, to me, last season didn't land, but it was because there were sporadic things that did work. And it was like, I felt like they were getting there. They were almost there, and they weren't getting there. This season, they're hitting it because every episode matters. Even an episode that seems like a throwaway episode gives you some backstory. So instead of doing like, I can't really remember that Devoe episode, but I kind of feel like they did like Devoe that entire episode, right?
Right.
Here, I thought they were going to do the same thing, and they didn't. But you get this juxtaposition of, you know, what Dwyer's going, what Orlin's going through with Gracie and that backstory there, with Weather Witch and Ross and his daughter. So it's like, and then
also Barry, because just like Orlin, he had a child thrust upon him.
Yep.
And he's having to reevaluate the way he does shit because of this new relationship.
Yeah, and it's an interesting dynamic with these two going up against each other, and this idea that when the doctor even told him, was like, oh, he's getting too hot, you can't come here. It's like, no, it's Thanksgiving, I'm gonna spend time with my family. I'm gonna do this, and that ends up being how, you know, Team Flash can figure out who he is, because he's not gonna leave his daughter. I don't know, like the way they did this whole thing really worked.
Really well executed.
It really is. It's really well executed. I'm in. Here's the thing. I think we got at least 2-3 episodes more before the break, because I know next week we got this episode coming up. Then next week is the crossover, and then we probably got 1 or 2 after that before they go into the winter break. And I'm feeling really good about what we're going into here, because like I'm invested. And the other thing too is I don't know how they stop this guy.
Yo, that's the thing.
I don't know if they can.
I don't think them finding out his name is some big win for them. I'm like, and what you gonna do now?
Right. What advantage does that give you now? Now you know who he is. Okay. He's not here to kill innocent. I mean, I don't want to say he is here to kill innocent people, because some of the metas he's attacked. Although, outside the Flash, in Team Flash, has he really attacked any other metas that weren't criminals? Even the one that had the Terminator arms, we found out was cutting up people. We thought she was just a nice little person, but she was actually, you know, robbing and stabbing people. I understand why he's going after the Flash and Team Flash, is because they're the ones that destroyed the satellite that ended up, you know, hurting Gracie. So outside of anybody, have we seen him attack any metas that weren't already criminals or didn't have some kind of connection to Team Flash and hurting Gracie?
For those of you who are listening to our what is this? What's the other show? The Gifted reviews. You'll notice this line of thinking of Chris's. Well, maybe the purifiers are right.
Wait, are you what? No, I did not say that. I didn't. I am giving motivations here. I'm not saying that they're right. I'm just
You're asking
facts.
a question.
I'm just asking
Which
questions.
is just as bad.
I'm just asking questions and pointing things out. That's all. I'm just saying, you know. Just
Cisco wasn't a threat to anybody.
No, but he did get in the way. I'm just saying, you know.
Wow, he got in the way. Is that where we're going?
I'm just saying, you know. I'm just saying, you know.
He got in the way.
I'm just saying, if Orlin has a beef with Barry, let's maybe, you know, they should talk about it like men. And I'm not.
Orlin's not here to talk.
I'm not going to jump in there. I'm just.
Cicada's not here to talk.
Valid
He's
point.
made that abundantly clear.
I'm not here to talk.
I can't believe this is my show.
No, but seriously, I really enjoyed this. I love how they did that, and I love. The only question I had this episode was where the fuck was Ralph? They handled where Joe was. They've been doing that really well. But I was like, yo, actually, I'm kind of, you know, where's Ralph? You guys done a good job with Ralph this season. And this felt like an episode that, you know, we could really have Ralph there with, especially with Sherlock getting on. What was it? It was Caitlin and Cisco being all down about how Thanksgiving sucks. Like, this whole thing was basically Cisco finding out.
No.
Wait, did you know?
When your friends are too woke.
This holiday for colonizers?
I don't know if this is in the show, but I Thanksgiving, I rock with Thanksgiving because like it's the only major holiday that's not tied to anything overtly religious.
Mm-hmm.
And it's evolved from a celebration because we all like kind of know, we all know the history now. So now it's evolved to just like we're showing, it's literally just celebrating family and friends.
Right.
It's one of my favorite holidays because it's just that. And then like, Coach, your work friend, did you know? Like, yes, I know. Mm-hmm. It's not what I'm celebrating. I'm celebrating togetherness in my family. But did you know? All right.
Right. Cisco turned into one of those people, those newly woke people. Did you know about this? Did you know this?
No,
yes, Cisco.
Like, why did you just find out? That's the question.
Yeah.
Why are you so late?
We all knew about this. Yes, we did. Although Sherlock giving the toast about to the colonizers, I died. I almost died. Like everyone's like, no, guys, we don't give a toast to the colonizers.
Yo, I love that on every other Earth, this isn't a thing. Everyone's like, nah, man, the colonization of America is one of the biggest tragedies in the history of the world.
Right. Like, yeah.
And we're over here like, stuffing bitches.
Right,
so.
Right. This is, and Sherlock's just like, no. And I love that it was Killer Frost going like, yeah, no, guys, no, fuck this. Like,
no, that's what you need. You need the asshole friend like, you're overthinking this shit.
Right.
Just have some turkey.
He's like, if anybody
shut the fuck up and have some turkey.
Yo, she showed us. She was like, listen, if anybody here has a reason not to celebrate, it's me, and I'm gonna go eat. So, are y'all coming with me or not? It's like, you know what? We got to change her name from Killer Frost because she's actually kind of reasonable Frost. Like,
yo,
like what are we gonna call Caitlin from now on? She's not Killer Frost.
Rightfully disgusted Frost.
Right, rightfully disgusted Frost.
Indignant Frost.
Indignant Frost.
What the fuck is wrong with y'all?
Right.
There's turkey. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, I love
cornbread, macaroni and cheese. I think Irish know how to cook. Let's go.
Oh no, it clearly was not Irish knowing to cook.
It was all Barry.
It was all Barry. Yes. No. We need to make it very, very clear. That's the one thing. When this Elseworld happens, we're gonna find out that Irish can all of a sudden cook. They the one thing that's changed on that end.
Yo, fuck that. That's an entire crossover right there. Right. Give me 12 episodes on how Irish know how to cook.
That's when you find out Barry. That's how Barry will find out next time he messes the timeline too much. Is that he's sitting down for pancakes and it's like, wait,
yo,
these are good.
Be like, it could be Nazi Irish, but like, yo, but Irish can cook here. Let's let it ride for a second. Let's see how the story ends because now she can cook.
See, but that, you know what though, that would be so Flash, right? You in a dark situation, and all of a sudden Bear just cracks a joke about, but at least Irish can cook here. You know, it's like,
Barry, what did you do? I saved our breakfast. That's what I did. You're welcome.
Right. I just wanted better pancakes.
Is that so wrong?
I didn't think that, I just, I went back into time and this, like, when she was a little kid, I just left off a couple of, instead of giving her like, journalism books, I gave her cooking books. Martha.
No. I let her journalism books. But when she was 12, there was a fire. And they lost all the cookbooks that had been handed down from generations of West family. But I was able to rescue them. And now we're all better for it. Amen.
Although I will say, I was telling the story of the, what was it, crunchy mac and cheese?
Aunt Esther.
Aunt Esther? What was the other dish that Aunt Esther? Now, we hear about Aunt Esther all the time. We need to at some point have a flashback to Aunt Esther. Because she be cooking, but she also doesn't clean her pots and pans. Which is, interesting.
Well, however you get there. You saw Iris. I didn't say I stopped eating it.
Right. So that was the last time you ate on. Whoa. Let's not get.
You're saying words I didn't say.
Right. The crunch added character.
There you go.
Character. Yeah. So last thing before we get out of here, I did want to going back to the Orlin thing because I had this in my notes. It's this idea that, Barry saved all these people, right, from Weather Witch, and and even in the with the satellite, he's praised as a hero. But it reminds you that he can't save everyone because saving this city left the debris all over the city, and it leads all this. Now you're getting meta tech from this dark matter, but also it created something. It created something with Orlin, and it hurt Gracie. So even when doing the right thing, and trying to save the city, some people still get hurt. And I think this is one of the things that, going to our whole thing with DC Comics, and I think it's the one thing that they've done. Every now you get these stories, and they always really work for me because they show you that we always celebrate the heroes when they've done something Right, but we always miss that. Hey, that debris fell somewhere. Somebody got hurt. You know, if there's a meta fight in a city, somebody got hurt. Something's gonna happen, and that's one thing I think. Again, I'm not trying to defend this, but that's what they were trying to go for in BVS, but you didn't have a writer, so it couldn't like.
Don't do this.
No. Look, be honest. They were trying to do that. They failed miserably. Right, the whole thing of hey, there were debris over the city and blah blah. Blah. Yeah, you tried.
You're ascribing a lot of thought and subtlety to a director and writer. Everyone knows.
No. He's come out and said it. No, he has come out and said, and this is before the. I'm not.
We're trusting what he says now.
No. I'm not saying that the newer stuff, like right when the movie came out, and even before then, the interviews he did before that movie came out were the only time that I think Zack Snyder was actually telling the truth. The stuff he says now is after the fact and is bullshit. But the stuff before then, he was trying to go for this. But the problem is, he's not a subtle enough writer to understand the nuances of how to do that. The Flash, they're doing that. They're doing what he was trying to do. Hey, look, Barry and them saved the city. But, we know the satellite hit the ground. We know those pieces, hurt people. They cause damage in the city. You got to deal with that now. And here, while the city looks as a hero, you're now having Orlin with a girl who, for all intents and purposes, is his daughter. And he's like, "You're celebrating this man as a hero, but my daughter's laid up in a coma. These metas are a problem, and you're celebrating one right here." But we didn't, and this is, I'm waiting for this on to happen. They haven't said it yet, but the metas didn't show up until Barry showed up. The Flash is the first one, as far as anybody's concerned. He's the meta. Now, we do know, that there were metas before, and they've gone this whole route of showing us metas pre a particle accelerator. Like, we've gone through that. But as far as somebody like Orlin knows, everything was fine before Barry showed up, before the Flash. And so I can see that also coming to be another one of his motivations in zeroing on the Flash. Not just the idea that, hey, what you and your daughter did hurt my daughter, but also you're the start of this whole meta things, which then goes back to the whole thing of you're responsible for killing my sister, which put Gracie under my care, which did all this stuff.
We'll see. We'll have to see about that. I think that could be somewhere they go eventually. I think a war on metas, and because the Flash he arrived kind of as the solution to the metas. Mm-hmm. It'd be hard to say. I think it'd be a hard tack to say, "Oh, this all started with you." It's easier to say an era where the villain problem started when you showed up, because he escalated their plans and made them move faster. It's literally his fault.
Oh, no, I agree. I don't think that this is going to be like a citywide thing. The city turns against Barry. No. I think that's because I think that he is going to make that connection. He's not going to be right. But I think he's going to make that connection because he's hurt, he's grieving, and all this stuff is going on, and he doesn't know any better. As far as he knows, his interaction with metas is this. I think that's where the whole idea of having him being a blue collar, somebody who's blue collar, comes in, is that he's not reading Iris's blog. He's not following. He's not going.
Everyone's reading Iris's blog, sir. I don't know if you heard the.
Sorry. Yes, you're right.
Where they talk about it.
All right. So, but I think that's what it is. This is a guy who probably gets his news from Fox News. It's like, I just feel like that's going to be the thing that he has.
I think they're doing that plot line you're talking about on a larger scale and better over in Supergirl. So I think it'd be weirder to echo that beat here.
Got you. Let's see. The last thing is Barry hitting Nora with the "I'm the Flash for my family" thing. I think that also just kind of sums up Barry Allen, and I think, again, why I'm loving this season so far. It's just like, yeah, he does his things to protect his family, not just because he's trying to get away from his family, And I think that's an important distinction, because I think that at some point, you could have said that about Oliver, right? That Oliver was being the Green Arrow to get away from his family. I think that's, and we'll talk about that in this Arrow episode coming up. I think that's changed, but before then, it was definitely a thing that, it's like the Batman thing. He retreats into being the Green Arrow, so he doesn't have to be Oliver Queen. Barry's never been that with the Flash. It's always been he's Barry Allen, but he's the Flash, and he goes out and he uses powers to save his family and the people he loves and the city he loves. So I think him teaching Nora that and making her understand that is a big piece. So, cool. You got anything else you want to say before we end this?
That's it.
Cool. All right. So before we go, I just want to say one thing that will probably get people mad at me. Because I always got to kill one of the Westoffs. Wouldn't it be kind of tragic, but also poetic, if Nora ends up sacrificing herself to save her father?
I think they've erased Nora. I think they're going to change enough time where she doesn't exist anymore, and their son Bart Allen's going to show up at the end of the season.
Could be. Just saying. And
they got to reconcile the fact that they just lost their daughter, but they gained a son. Same thing that they did to Diggle with Flashpoint.
Yep. And also, I want to give a shout out to Jessica Parker Kennedy because she does a great job. Even though she's either older than both Iris and
she's older than both of them. Yes,
she's older than both of them. But the way she acts so much younger than them, and she gives this like wonderment look. Like she's done a great job, so you don't feel like she's acting the way. Again, I think they learned from mistakes, and I hate to say it, they learned from mistakes they made with Wally. And they're making sure they don't do that. Here, she acts the age that we wanted Wally to be, even though the actors are close in age. So it's like you understand like how green she is and how young she is, even though they're all the same damn fucking age, right? And I think it really helps to sell Nora's behaviors when she's doing, because when she does irrational things, you're not looking at her going like, you're a grown ass woman, what the fuck are you doing? You're looking at her like, she's a little girl here with her family that she never.
Well, it helps that we've been revealed that she just got her powers.
True. Yeah. So
like they're letting her stumble more than they ever let Wally stumble, which is helping the character.
Exactly. And not only helping letting her stumble, but then letting Barry and Iris help her teach her. Like we forget Barry was a terrible teacher to Wally, horrendous, and here we have her. Being taught not just by Barry and Iris, but by Team Flash. It was Caitlin that told her how to jumpstart Barry's heart back to get him back.
Right.
So
yeah,
awesome. Not a bad job. So we're really loving how they're doing it this season. Can't wait to keep going. Couple things. The T Public store. If you did not take part in the sale on Black Friday and Cyber Monday, don't worry. There's a sale running again this week and one, I think, the week after next. $14 t-shirts. I think it's 25 or 30% off everything in the store. Go to tpublic.com/store/MTR-network or click on the link in the show notes. We had a really great time. People bought a lot of stuff in November, so keep doing that. Christmas is coming up. And I'll make sure we do this next time. I will find the dates when you have to have things bought on TeePublic to make sure you receive them by Christmas. I don't have it in front of me right now, but I'll make sure I do that there. Also, the sale for premium is still going on. Goes on through the 12th. You get 20% off a year subscription or 20% off a quarterly subscription. You get access to all of our premium stuff. I think we put out 8 episodes last month, and this month is going to be a lot because I still got to schedule this with, maybe we'll do it next weekend, Deepam and Justin. We got to do our PS4 Spider-Man talk. We have myself, Ro, and Brandon have like a ton of other movies to do spoiler reviews for that are in there. This month also has we have a Fantastic Beast spoiler review that I think Shanna did, so I'll make sure I get that up. There is Aquaman coming up, and there's also Bumblebee, which will both probably have spoiler reviews as well, and maybe some other stuff too. Because this has been a packed month of movies, so stay tuned. And I think even I'm supposed to be getting with John. We're supposed to be doing a Hell No Cupid even before the end of the year. So just stay tuned. There's a bunch of stuff coming out on premium, and so if you're not a premium member, sign up. And you can get that 20% off discount. So, again, folks, thank you very much for listening. Until next time, we're out of here. Peace.